So there's this kind of tradition with the Pokemon anime where Team Rocket gets their own episode. And typically these episodes are some of the better episodes in any given season. I know Team Rockets, or at least the Team Rocket focus episodes in Black and White season were some of the best episodes, as well as some episodes in X and Y, stuff like that. Anyway, this is some of the best episodes and most interesting in any given season. And considering all the episodes that we've had up until now, which were all pretty good, this has some high expectations, at least for me personally, as we go into it. Is this one of the best episodes that we've had so far? Let's get into it, shall we? We begin our episode with Team Rocket sitting around Beware's den. Before a call from HQ comes in, they spin some spiel about having captured Mimikyu and Beware to get off the hook with Giovanni, which satisfies them, but his secretary Matori, I don't know if she has an English name, but I know in Japanese her name is Matori, but she doesn't really seem to have a name in English, so we're just going to call her Matori. Anyway, she tells them to report regularly because she's tired of, them not reporting in. They're really nonplussed about this and contemplate trying to capture Beware, but decide they really lack power as they really only have Mimikyu as a Pokemon. Meanwhile, with the subplot, yes, Ash the subplot this time, Ash and friends head to the beach and proceed to do fun things there. That's enough about them, let's get back to our real heroes. Team Rocket are nearby trying to capture some Pokemon by fishing, when of course shenanigans go down. They soon spot a Cloyster with Jessie trying to capture it, only for it not to work, obviously. Now I could mention the whole Battle to Awaken thing, but considering the fact that every catch so far and most captures this season won't involve battles, it's a pretty viable method to just throw a Pokeball at something. I mean, it worked with Mimikyu way earlier. Either way, it doesn't work, and then they try to get the ball back, only for a wave to hit them, completely soaking them, and Cloyster shooting out the ball. Because, slapstick comedy. Meanwhile, with the subplot, Ash and Kyoe have a race and land on a rocky spot and see some Corsola. Ash decides to try to catch one of them, surprisingly, but Kyoe warns them off when they run off. As a group of Marine swim by, as they manage to get ashore, Professor Kukui tells them how dangerous the Brutal Star Pokemon are. Meanwhile, Team Rocket is still undergoing various shenanigans, with Meowth seeing Mimikyu without his cloak again and almost dying again. They give up on fishing and James puts on the scuba gear to swim out and catch some Pokemon, with Meowth and Jessie declining to join him as he jumps in. In the water, James's Corsola-like helmet attracts the Marine, which proceeds to try to crush it, and he rushes to dry land before he drowns. He explains what happened, and Jessie suggests they try catching the Marine, which proceeds to attack James and poisons him. The resulting poisoning makes him resemble a Marine, which enamors the Pokemon. So after hours, presumably, of playing around, Kukui finally tells the group their assignment for class today, to go out and observe some Pokemon. Standard fare. Anyway, each of the group finds their own Pokemon to observe, aside from Ash, who continues searching for something he deems cool enough to observe, but he runs across Team Rocket along the way. Of course, spotting Ash, battle immediately ensues with Jessie ordering Mimikyu to attack, which it eagerly does so, attacking Pikachu. Bulbafett and Meowth join in the fray but are pushed back, with Marine deciding to join in the fight as well, in order to impress James, of course. Another impressive battle ensues, and to much everyone's surprise at the end of it, Pikachu are violently defeated on the ground. However, before Team Rocket can take in their victory over Ash after 20 years, Beware suddenly appears and snatches them away, much to their objection. Ash tends to his Pokemon, and Kukui gives them an antidote so they can quickly heal up, and Ash, surprisingly, brushes off the entire defeat and continues to enjoy his beach day. I'll talk about this later. Meanwhile, Team Rocket sits to Beware's den, decide to make that their new secret base, and James captures Marine before it affectionately poisons him, being a new shtick for the season. This episode. I remember when it first aired in Japan and it freaked out the whole fan base, because this is the first time, to my knowledge, again, right now, over 1,000 episodes I have to look back on. This is the first time Team Rocket has legitimately won a battle against Ash. There have been multiple episodes that showcase Team Rocket's skills as trainers, just as pure battle trainers, but I think this is the first one, maybe 2 or 3 episodes, that, they were legitimate threats as, actual trainers and not just with giant robots or weapons. But this is the first time, again, that they've actually managed to pull out a legitimate win against Ash. Technically it was a 4-on-2, but Meowth and Wobbuffet didn't really get into the battle, so it was really just Marine and Mimikyu. Now, that leads into my ultimate complaint with this episode. Ash. Ash and friends are a dumb subplot this time around, and that's fair. In most non-Ash focused episodes, he is just a subplot or a guest character, especially this season. But that's fine until we get to the end, where Ash loses. I imagine any other season with any other Ash, he would maybe seriously contemplate that loss. He would seriously think about how he lost to Team Rocket, a group that he has multiple times in the past managed to completely own. Maybe he would have a little bit of character development trying to figure out why he lost. Maybe he would redouble his efforts in training. Maybe we get some character stuff with him and his Pokemon. But here? Nope, he forgets all about it, continues to have fun with his friends. No lessons learned at all. This is doubly stressful considering the fact that one of the best episodes in the Sinnoh season was an episode where Ash recovered from a traumatic loss against Paul. And that led him to redoubling his efforts to beat Paul in the Sinnoh Pokemon League. And again, Sinnoh was a really good season. This season's good so far, but this is a serious downbeat on this episode, which is overall really good. I know this is a more lighthearted season with that competition angle this time around, but I still think this is a major shame. It just feels like such a waste, honestly. As for Team Rocket in this episode, they're great. This was more of a James episode, even though Jesse, James, and Meow shared the spotlight this time around. James continues a tradition that was surely missing in the X and Y season, of being assaulted by affection from his Pokemon. Yeah, that was a joke that was somewhat missing in X and Y, but I think it works better here as it's found a newfound spark in itself. Marine itself is a cute addition to the team. Team Rocket always seems to have a poison type on staff. I said almost always, X and Y didn't have a poison type to my knowledge. And Marine, I would like the design of this water Pokemon, and the animators actually make it look extra cute, especially when it blushes when it sees James for the first time. This is a very cute Pokemon, as well as continuing the tradition of James being more personal with his Pokemon than Jessie ever is with hers, at least some of them. It's also good to see Team Rocket trying their best to capture new Pokemon instead of get-rich schemes, or just trying to steal Pikachu for the 18th time. And at least with some comedic antics that are pretty enjoyable. Even the gimmick, a recurring joke of Meowth seeing Mimikyu without his cloak on almost dying, is freshened up every so often, and in this case it works pretty well, with Meowth catching Mimikyu swimming at one point. And as I said earlier, considering that particularly every catch in this season will be without a battle, Jessie tossing out a Pokeball at a Cloyster is pretty funny in hindsight. Again, it did work with Mimikyu earlier. This was a pretty great Team Rocket episode through and through. As I stated earlier, these are some of the better episodes in any given season, and this one still stands out even this far into the season at time of writing. This season has a number of great episodes, as well as great things for Team Rocket to do in general, and this is, again, one of their better episodes, and a good showcasing for James, and a good outing for Marine as well. Hell, this might be one of their best episodes of the entire season so far, but we'll have to see the rest of the season if we can perfect those lofty goals of being the best episode. Till next time, everybody!